She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Today we're talking about couples and separate bank accounts. Is that a good idea? Or is it saying that you don't trust each other? Is it important to have like a safety net that some women say they have a separate bank account for their own independence, or a safety net to make sure everything's going to be covered? I don't really know what the answer is, but I would like for us to explore this because I think it works in different ways for different people. I do believe that people need to have responsibility over certain things and have the ownership, or let's say the authority, to make decisions. And I do know that couples can fight a lot about money, and I do know that Hans and I have had many times throughout our 27 years of making babies together that we did not see eye to eye concerning finances. We had a different opinion about debt. We had a different opinion about the future and planning and spending, especially, and where to spend money. I mean, that's part of actually growing up together. It's part of maturing in the process of marriage and maturing in the family finances. And so some couples just choose to not talk about it because they just don't want to fight instead of learning how to communicate. So if you have a separate bank account from your spouse, do you feel like it gives you a safety net? Or do you feel that the reason for that bank account is really, the root of it is that you don't trust each other? And is the separate bank account the best answer for that? I really don't know, but let's talk about it. So we've got Sabrina from Minnesota. Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Dani.
Good to hear your voice. So do you and your husband have a separate bank account?
We have separate accounts.
Okay, tell me why.
Well, my husband has a daughter from a previous dating relationship, and their communication, like, she cut him out of life shortly after they found out they were pregnant, and then she came back after him for support when the child was about two and a half.
But what does that have to do with separate bank accounts?
Because he then had arrears, and his child support and the arrears come directly out, and the courts look at how much money you have in your account, how much you make, all of that stuff. And so I didn't want any of my money going towards that. Because whether it was before we were married or when we got married, I didn't want any of mine to be considered in that income, in what he would have to pay, because we were struggling as it was.
Right.
And so for me, it was just kind of a safety net for me. Plus, my husband is not always the best with money. So there was also that thing where I could at least make sure, like you said, kind of have that safety net for myself of, if he goes on a little spending spree or something and doesn't pay attention to that money, then at least I know bills will be still covered,
right? Things
like that.
So let me ask you, when I just have a little bit of a problem with the mine part of this conversation. I do. That's the only part I have a problem with this.
You're probably not the only person.
Oh, what do you mean by that? You think your husband might have a problem with that too?
No, he doesn't. He's okay with it because we have.
Whoa, time out. He's okay with it. Does that mean he's good with it, or has he just compromised? He just fell into suit as to what you wanted?
I don't. I really don't know.
Yeah, you're right, Sabrina.
Because even though we've talked about it, and he says that he's good with that, and he's in agreement with that, I'm not in his brain. I don't. I can only go off of what he tells me.
Right.
And I know it's been really good for us.
Okay.
But because my husband also sometimes isn't always the most forthcoming with how he spends some of his money.
Okay, but hold on.
Also plays
hold on.
part.
I know. Hold on, but I want to get deeper into this subject. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Look at her. She's like, I'm sweating bullets now. Okay. So, here's the question. Now, you said I don't want my money going into his account because I don't want his child getting it. Okay. Now, this is
not his child.
No, it's his child.
It is for his child.
It's child support, so I don't want his daughter to get my money. Okay? That's what you said. So the child support is for the child. Okay? It's not for the ex-girlfriend that, whatever's. Okay? And that's a complicated situation no matter which way you slice it. But this is the thing I want to challenge you about. Whenever we have a mine and yours, this is a sign of division, and this is not a ours. And marriage is us. Means when you married him, you also married the man who has a child in which he has child support for. Sure. So that is our responsibility. Okay, that's our responsibility. That's not my money ain't going towards that. Because what that communicates to him is that we are not married. We are two single people living in the same house pretending to be married. Now let's flip this thing around. Is there another way to do it? It's all in the way that you're communicating. You see, I believe that every family should have multiple bank accounts for various different things. One being the operating bank account. One being the account where 10% of our income comes straight off to go to the poor or the sex trade, to the widow, to the sick, to the extreme poor who is homeless and children who are starving. Okay? Another 10%, if the family has debt, 10% goes to another account where that money all accumulates in that month to go all towards debt. And then another 10% accumulates for wealth, for creating income-producing assets. So I believe that, then this is how my husband has set us up. And man, I'm telling you, you want to talk about a safety net? That's a safety net. You having my money, him having his money and his kid, this is all separate. What I'm saying is the method may not be a bad method, but the motive is what I'm getting at. And that kind of a concept of marriage leads to a divorce. It leads to a lack of intimacy and a lack of trust. And so look, if you want to have an account for the operating expenses, and that's generally what the two of you put into an account for, right? So a portion of the money both of you earn go into an operating account, right? And this covers all of the bills. If he has his own fun account where he can spend on whatever the heck he wants to. So that might be a separate account, each of you having a fun account, each of you having an operating account, each of you, and from the overall income between the two of you, 10% of that goes straight into charity, straight into giving, because those who give will always receive. Those who are always receiving are going to have to be in a place of always receiving. So you could have it to where there's separate fun accounts so that your husband has a portion of his hard work and labor that he gets to blow guilt-free, shame-free. This is his money to just go hog wild, man. If he wants to go to the casino and take his chances, well then by golly, if he wants to buy a lottery ticket, I don't recommend these things, but or if he wants to buy a hot dog at the gas station with a big gulp, well, knock yourself out. But everybody needs freedom to have the power to make decisions financially over their own financial territory. But then coming together and saying, all right, this is our operating account for the family. This is for the future. This is for our right now fun. So therefore, there's not this like, oh, my husband goes crazy and he spends and does all these crazy things. Well, honey, Sabrina, I'm pretty sure you've done that a few times yourself.
Oh, I have.
Okay, thank you so much. Notice how you didn't say that earlier. You're just pointing out when my husband has a problem. You two are married, therefore you both have a problem. We like to go crazy sometimes in our spending. Okay, so that's what I just like spit everywhere. That was awesome.
I can imagine. I could hear it. I could hear it.
Literally, I splattered the whole camera. It was awesome. Okay, anyway, and the microphone. Woo! It's probably not going to be the last time I do that. Okay, so that to me, I understand about a safety net, but let's have a real one. Let's have a real one that is an our safety net. And so if it means, go ahead.
We have started doing that. We have started because we went through a financial thing or whatever, a class seminar, a couple months long workshop thing. And so we have started budgeting better and budgeting together, looking at all the debt combined, all the other stuff. We have envelopes for, hey, free spending, that's yours. And I know it came off wrong in how I said, like, my money, his money, and I don't want it to go towards his daughter. I paid for the majority of his daughter's stuff. I paid for the karate. I paid for the Girl Scouts.
But look, time out. You're saying it again. I paid for the daughter.
From my account. From my account.
But do you hear what I'm saying? It's
Yes,
our money.
It's changing your mindset on how you verbalize it.
Whoa, hold on.
No,
Sabrina, it's a heart change. It's not a mindset change. Is this your second marriage?
Nope, not mine.
Do you want a second marriage?
Oh, hell no. No, it was till death do us part.
Well, then, girlfriend, it's time to get on the train of marriage. We live in a culture, Sabrina, I'm telling you right now, we live in a culture that encourages division. We live in a culture that encourages division. We live in an anti-unity culture. Look at all the factions that are everywhere. There's factions everywhere. Political factions. We have educational factions. We have race factions. We have church factions. We have financial factions. There's division everywhere. There's wars in homes, and we don't even realize what took us there. Let me tell you this. When somebody is going through divorce, they literally are scratching their head going, how did I get here? How did this happen? Like, this is not what I intended it to be. And what it is a small little thing inside of both of your hearts that then comes out of your mouths, and we are speaking division without even realizing it. So it's not even a mindset, it's a heart set. So when we are married, it is ours. And so therefore, she is his daughter, which means she is also yours. You are a surrogate mother to this child. So it's our daughter. And so if you decided that, I want to bless her, then that's when you come together with your husband and say, you know what, I think it would be really awesome. And we have some money in an account over here that's our money. And I was wondering if you would be okay if I took some of that money and blessed our daughter with it. Can you see the difference? Versus, I paid for this and I paid for that. Sabrina, let me tell you something. I am so freaking guilty of this myself. No joke. It has taken me 2 decades to learn this. In fact, it is only as of 5 years ago that I really started to get it, because I didn't even realize that I spoke to my husband in terms of mine and his, even though we had an ours, but it still was, that's your thing and that's your company and that's your vision and everything's about you and what you want to do. And then this is mine over here. And we spent 20 years trying to get each other on each other's side. We spent 20 years thinking that unity meant, to Hans, unity meant, Dani, come over here. And to me, unity meant, Hans, come over here. No. So look, baby, you guys have multiple bank accounts. You both have a daughter. You both are married. And so this isn't it's my money. No, you're contributing into the marriage. This is ours. And with our money, I was wondering if you think it would be a good idea if we can bless her with this. So it's about which account it's coming from. Because if it's only from you, again, now this creates division even between the daughter and the father. But if it's an us thing, there's stability in the us. There's future in the us. There's unity in the us. There's peace in the us. And by the way, this is where intimacy comes from. And it's honoring, by the way, to your husband. And it is also honoring to you. I find that marriage is both of us coming together as one, which means we kind of have to release who we think we are separately. And we're forming a whole new thing together. I hope that makes sense. And Sabrina, please hear me. I'm not perfect at this. I actually am not perfect at this. It has taken me a long time to get it through my head. And part of it was because I was so rejected and I'd been abandoned as a kid. And that's just how I lived. And that's what was in my heart. And that's how I spoke. It's a we thing. It's a we thing. And I'm working on that one myself. So I want you to join me on working on it yourself too. Hey, listen, here's the bottom line. You right now are like, Dani, that's just not right. Man, I need my own special individuality. Okay, I get it. Oh gosh, do I get it? I need my own security. Girlfriend, there's no such thing. Security is a facade. Think about it. And really, is this about security or is this about control? Control leads to manipulation. Manipulation leads to a divorce. It does not lead to harmony. It doesn't lead to peace. It doesn't lead to everything that you wanted to go at. So listen to me carefully. Trust. Trust. And I know Sabrina, I'm so proud of her for coming on the show and sharing what she shared. I mean, I think she's an awesome woman. And I think she's awesome because she can see and is going, okay, yeah, we're coming together. We're learning how to budget together. That's amazing. But the question I have for you who are watching me right now, are you using divisive words without knowing it? Are you communicating to your spouse that it's a us and them or a you and me versus an us together? Are you communicating my vision and his vision versus our vision? If you want your finances to be blessed and to grow, there is common ground to come together with separate bank accounts. But those are the families still separate bank accounts. This is still our funds together that we direct and we have responsibility and authority over. So let's start coming together and let's start building unity instead of building division. And by the way, if you don't know how to do that, I've got something I would love to give you to at least start helping you to become more aware of what is coming out of your heart and how that is being communicated in this relationship. A relationship that has division like this is on unstable ground. But if you want more stability, I encourage you, this is free. Go to DaniJohnson.com. First Steps to Wealth, absolutely free. You can download the copy today. It has several chapters on communicating, several chapters on how to have those tough conversations, and also how to uncover who your spouse really is, what their personality is, what motivates them, what makes them tick, what really matters. So that even like what Sabrina says, well, I can only go off of what he says. Well, wouldn't it be great if you can actually learn to communicate with him in a way that actually you really get to hear the heart versus his mouth? That you actually get to really know what's inside of him and inside of his head and how to draw it out of him. This book's going to show you how to do that. First Steps to Wealth at DaniJohnson.com. Get your copy right now. It's totally free. I don't know how long it's going to be free, but it's free today. So go get your copy right now. That's it for us. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.